Good morning, I'm in the garden again. As you can hear, the birds are ridiculously loud right now, so hopefully you can still hear me. I missed my video update last week, so this is just gonna be, I think we'll call it every 2 week or so update. Peas. Almost every plant is now giving me peas. I've already picked a couple off, and I looked it up, and you're not supposed to let the peas in the pods get very developed, or else it makes them a little more fibrous. And I've been picking them when they have been at either this stage or a little bit fuller, more plump. Focus on the pea, there we go. And they're delicious. Another one right next to it. So at first, only one of my plants was giving me any blooms. And I got 2 peas off of it. Then, like, the next couple of days, every single plant had a bud on it. Already so excited for next year because I'm going to plant these way earlier. And I might even try to grow them in the fall, too. Because they're so good, and each plant gives off a pretty good amount, and I know that they're not giving me as much as they would if they were planted at the right time. He's trying to pull one of his branches. He's leaving the group, trying to connect to the grass. Moving on from the peas to the tomatoes. Though they seem to be doing well, they're really not growing like crazy. I'm trying to maintain one main stalk, but yeah, this is I didn't top this on accident. So that's what I was worried about. I was worried about pulling a sucker off that was actually like new growth and then topping off the plant and having it not grow for me anymore. But this is the new growth for sure, so I think I'm good on this guy. I'm trying to prune the tomato plants to the point to them not having branches so low. When I water them, it's really hard to not get water on the leaves. This one is a little too short to really fix that problem. This was one of my guys that was started from seed outside. It's catching up with the rest of them, giving me new growth. We have a flower. I didn't notice this on that guy before. Nice. Got a flower on there too. Tomato rows are my favorite in the garden because they smell so good. All you have to do is brush the leaves just a tiny bit and it starts to smell like tomatoes. Some more flowers. I'm only growing 2 varieties of tomato plants, Romas and then the basic beefsteak slicers. So I picked those 2 because I want to be able to have nice fresh tomatoes on sandwiches and stuff, and then I want the Romas for making sauces or just canning diced tomatoes. But I didn't mark which ones were which, and I'm not entirely sure still, but I am noticing that there's a difference between some of them. Some have more long, skinny buds, and others have more bulbous buds. You can see these buds are a little more rounded. And this one, and they're like super skinny. So my hunch is that this is a Roma and this is a beefsteak slicer because of the shape of the tomatoes. My cilantro companion. As I'm videoing each tomato plant, I'm looking for suckers. I want to get them before they get really big. This has its first set of buds. I'm just going to go ahead, pinch that off. because this guy needs to get bigger. Focus. Oh my gosh. There we go. First set of buds on this little puny tomato plant. I need you to get bigger before you try to give me food. These two were also started from seed, directly in the garden. So I think this is an example of a sucker, or not being a sucker, but being new growth, but looking sort of like it could be a sucker. That's what I'm scared of lopping off, that I want to be careful of. These are all indeterminate tomato plants too. This guy's trying to give me buds too. You are not big enough. I'm gonna let these buds get a little bigger though before I pinch them off, because I don't want to accidentally pinch off something that's not a bud. That would be bad. I don't know, I think this guy might be big enough to handle that. This was also started from seeds, so this one, let me jump over to the other side, this one, and this one were started from seed, and then the one all the way on the end over there on the inside. The rest of the tomato plants I started indoors. My little Jack and I planted sunflowers on the ends of all of my trellises, and all but one sprouted. But one has two, so it makes up for it. These are in hopes to be pollinators, and that one, I must have accidentally bought a dwarf sunflower plant or pack of seeds because they're super short. I'm really hoping that these ones aren't like that. This is the next row over. Some tiny suckers. Just barely starting. But they grow so quick, you really got to get on top of it. This tomato was the first one to start opening a bud. It was this bud. Anyway, I'm gonna get it to focus. So beautiful. Last but not least, I think this one has the most fish in the hole with the roots. So far, it has not really seemed to go any different from the rest with the fish. So not just the cilantro is planted in between the tomatoes, I also planted a couple of dark opal basil seeds to be companion plants with my tomatoes. And what I've learned about companion planting is the biggest thing is you don't want to plant things next to each other that have different watering needs. But if you can plant a variety of things around each other, it helps pests not really know where the things they like to eat are. The next row over from my tomatoes are my bush beans. I know they're bush beans, they don't technically need trellising, but this is where I had space to put them, so this is where they went. They've only really been growing for maybe a week. Doing pretty well, I would say so. Moving on to the next row are my cucumbers, and I do not know if I should let myself get excited about cucumbers because they're still pretty puny. And one of my the vloggers that I'm learning from, the Roots and Refuge, she said that the cucumbers usually tap out around June sometime. Can't remember if she said middle of June or end of June. And their region is similar to ours. So I don't know. We shall see though. My poor zucchini starting to sort of look like it's healing. My friend said that she thinks it looks like squash bug damage, where I guess the bug bites the leaves or injects something into them. I don't know. And it poisons it, and that's what's turning it yellow around the edges. But this is the only one that's really bad still. And over here is my best zucchini. at that. Beautiful bloom. So gorgeous. This is a male bloom. And I'll show you my first zucchini. It's hiding behind him, which I pollinated by hand a couple of days ago. Just to be sure that it happened, because I don't really have a ton of pollinators around my plants just yet. This is my best looking pumpkin. Look at that stalk and tons of buds. Pretty stoked about these little sweet pie pumpkins. So that's the best one. And these two are just, or three of them actually. They just got started a little bit behind, but they've been catching up. They're growing pretty quick. This one was planted by seed out here too. All the ones that I started inside and transplanted did not make it. So I think lesson learned for next year, pumpkins will be direct sown. This row is sweet corn. Sweet corn, sweet corn, sweet corn. I think for 4 straight rows. Then I've got 3 solid rows of Indian corn, which I don't know if you can really tell from here, but that is taller than this stuff. But it could either be because it's Indian corn or because they planted it a couple of days ahead of this. And this is growing like crazy. The Indian corn, so reference to my hand, it's like probably 6 inches tall from here, but maybe closer to a foot from the very tall top of the grass blades, whatever you call them. But they're growing so quick. I'm so excited. Let's be so much corn. What are we gonna do with it? These are my fall garden beds that I've been preparing. We have a few yards back here. Behind the fence is our property too, and I've been clearing out pine needles and twigs and such to fill these up. And they were filled closer to 2/3 of the way, but they have settled so much that's more like half or less. But that's good, because I think having a little bit more compost layer and topsoil or potting soil would be better, because I'm going to be growing root vegetables in these, and they need room for their roots. Alright, I pruned this guy down a lot, and I think a child possibly could have gotten another leaf, because I don't really remember pruning it down that much, but that's okay. I've got a lot of zucchini plants, so if one more dies, I will not be heartbroken. Also, my sister-in-law gave me a little packet of squash seeds that she had left over. Planted one in this mound, one in this mound with this. This is a cantaloupe. So there's a squash in there. I don't think I put another one in this one, because this has got enough in it. Or in this. But I did put one in here. And I did put 2 in this mound. So I've been pruning these as I go, and these have been growing like crazy. Definitely helps for them to be in a mound. I'm not entirely sure why. It just seems to help these leaves like get up and out of the way of the rest of them. But with the ones by the trellis, they're just kind of having a little bit harder of a time. Like their leaves are not anywhere near as big as these ones are getting. And this one has a few female buds on it. Pretty cool. I'm still kind of stumped though, because this is not powdery at all. It's just like a discoloration, and I don't know why. I've been checking them for bugs, and though it does look like something's munching on it here and there, like maybe this guy. Get away. I don't know what's happening, but this one's the worst one. It's going to happen to this guy too. So maybe it's a nutrient thing. They're still giving me new growth. These ones are growing like nuts. So I don't know if it's really something I should be concerned about. But like in the same mound, this one isn't doing it. And You would think that if either of them had a problem, it would be the smaller one. But it couldn't be a nutrient thing either, because if they're in the same mound, they're getting the same nutrients. And it's happening to this one too. But here, got another zucchini bud on that. There's another baby female zucchini bud. So this one has 2 or 3 actually. Oh no, just 2. Okay, 2 on that one. I don't see any on this. They're too small to tell. And then this one has 1, 2, 3 zucchini buds on this one. 1, 2. By zucchini buds, I mean female buds. I may still try to trellis these next year, or even this year once these get big enough. But it's difficult because of almost each one, the stalk is going in a different direction. And I don't know how I would really go about that, because I want them to do what they will naturally. I think the zucchinis have been what I have learned the most from and trial and error this time around, because I had a couple die already. I can see, even though the one that's giving me a zucchini or growing an actually pollinated female bud right now is smaller than the ones I have right here in the mounds. Like, I think like that one would still be giving, like I'd have that zucchini done by now if it were in a mound, not by the trellises. Fried kale, I don't think my kale is going to make it. I might just pick them and eat what there's on them already. This one's bigger, but it looks like something munched on the new leaves before they grew all the way, and then these are looking lacy. Oh, kale. I don't really want to grow it here next year anyway. I want to put it in the raised beds. My peppers seem to be doing quite well, I would say. Better than they have ever done under my watch. In the middle is a cayenne pepper. It has quite a few buds on it already. I really don't think I need to prune them at all to make them bushier, because they're kind of doing it on its own. Or it is kind of doing it on its own. The 2 on the side are jalapenos. This is an echinacea. A little sprout. It's giving me new growth. I think it's doing pretty well, but I kind of regret planting it here. I tried this entire bed. I tried to line it with echinacea. And I didn't know what it looked like, which is my own fault. I should have looked it up before they even came up. But I just didn't. I didn't. And I must have accidentally weeded a bunch of them, because this one and this one are the only ones that are really identifiable, and that really sucks. These are my surprise squash, whatever they are, who knows. We'll find out when they start developing the buds a little bit more. I can't really tell. The pumpkin buds look the same as the male zucchini buds to me. So I don't really know what they are. We'll see. They don't look like they're doing so hot though. Herb box, oh herb box. So beautiful. Basil is starting its true leaves. So excited. Hopefully I have enough to make pesto. Still no parsley. What in the heck? The mint is even sprouted. This may get banished to the front yard though if it starts to take over too much. Sister-in-law gave me some nasturtium seeds, so that's what's right here next to this sunflower and up to this sunflower. Nasturtium's planted. And look at all these guys growing. So excited for when they're all big and beautiful flowers giving me sunflower seeds. And this gap from here to the snow pea sign, I put pole beans on. Actually, I also put pole beans in between each sunflower. I'm excited about those. That's it for my garden update. Thank you for joining me on my garden walkthrough. I'll see you when I'm in the garden again.